So, Doug, you've got a Portage in Maine, and we're located on the Atlantic Ocean. We have some challenges here in Nova Scotia, Canada, for heating. And obviously, because you're on the Atlantic Ocean, you have an additional challenges that most wood furnace users don't have.
Yeah, well, I live on top of this big hill on the ocean. The wind never stops blowing up here. And as you can see today, when you left home, you told me there was no wind. Here, there's probably 20 miles an hour blowing here continuously. So I heat 4 buildings with this, 2 houses, 2 garages, continuously 365 days of the year. I never shut it off even in the summer because I heat my hot water with it too. And
now, tell me about, before you called me last year, you had some experience. You've been using outdoor wood boilers for a number of years, correct?
Yes, I got my first outdoor boiler somewhere around 1995, give or take a year or so. I don't know for sure, but somewhere around there. I had a wood doctor, was my very first one. I don't know if you know what they're like, stainless steel, big drum, and it used to burn. It would burn 2 tractor trailer loads easy in a season. Now, so far, I don't know, but so far this year, and we've had a few cold days and stuff, I've gone away from and left this boiler for more than 20 hours and 24 hours, and it's still not out yet. So that tells me that I'm not going to have any issues with this winter.
Now, on your last boiler, you had a Brand H boiler that you gave me a call on, that you had returned to the dealer. Tell me what the difference is between the Portage in Maine and the Brand H.
Okay, well, the Brand H boiler is another big stainless steel drum boiler. So it has some similar things, but this one here has brick in the bottom, which holds the heat extremely well. It seems to make my fire way hotter than it used to be, so my wood is burning more. The wood is burning better and burning down to practically nothing. Before, if this has a tray in the bottom for doing your ashes, my other tray, you would have to empty that every day. It would be like full every day.
Right.
This one here, once a week, if that, maybe once every 2 weeks. Depends on if it's winter or summer. My big garage, which is in the background there, you probably can't see it, but it has a door facing the north, which is where the wind comes from here. You can't seal it completely. It's a big garage door. The only seal's as good as the seals, so that building is extremely hard to heat. I've massive heat loss there from the door, and then of course I use the garage, so the door is open and closed 3 or 4 times a day or more, and every time it opens and closes, you lose all the heat in the building. So today I've had the door open 3 times so far. The boiler's just idling. For me, before, you wouldn't be able to sit. The smoke would just be rolling continuously. Here, you don't even get it, and even when it does come on, unless you've just filled it, you just get a small economical haze out of it. Not like I used to get before. So it looked like before, it looked like the smoke would be right black rolling out of it, just rolling out.
So when you called me and we started talking over the phone, I talked to you about the efficiency of the boiler burning about 30% less than the Brand H boiler. Are you finding that so far?
So far, I would say could even be maybe a touch better than that, but at least that.
Yeah.
I find it burns less wood.
Yes. And I did talk about, for your neighbors, and less smoke, and you're also finding that.
I'm finding less smoke too. Yeah. Yes.
Less smoke going out the stack means more energy going into the water. Yeah.
It's speaking for itself right
Yeah,
there.
and it's idling. Yeah.
And it's just sitting there. Before, no word of a lie, it'd just be rolling the smoke
Right.
continuously. You got to get your stack. Well, I had to get my stack up high enough to get clear of the woodshed.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
So
when you're loading it, and you talked a little bit earlier before we started the video, you talked about the amount of ash that you have to shovel out. How are you finding that compared to the previous boiler, the brand H?
hardly any.
Yeah.
Like the ash pan hardly fills up at all. It just, maybe like before, you'd have to empty the ash pan every day.
Every day.
Every
Yeah.
day.
And how often are you emptying the ash?
I emptied it yesterday afternoon. That was the first time in 2 weeks.
Right.
I don't even check it most of the time, because since I've got this boiler in, this boiler's got about March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, 7-8 months on it. And since I put it in, I noticed that in the summertime, maybe once a month. In the wintertime, so far, once every week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
To empty the ash pan. Tells me the wood is burning.
And for the viewers here, Doug actually burns year round. So that's one of the, it is slightly different this year because of the significance. So in Atlantic Canada, we have a lot of moisture in the air. It gets humid and cold, and Doug's right on the Atlantic Ocean. Yeah. So he literally needs to burn year round in order to keep, and you're heating 2 homes?
2 homes and 2 garages.
2 garages, and a third is eventually going to come on stream.
My new garage I'm building now is going to come online probably somewhere around Christmas time.
Okay.
It'll come online, and then I'll come back and ask me then. I'll be able to tell you all kinds of stuff then.
Yeah, sure.
Because that garage is twice as big. My new garage is the size of both of my old garages together, so yeah, maybe a little more. Now, saying that I heat 2 houses, 2 garages. In one of the houses, there's an upstairs and an apartment downstairs, and it's also heating the hot water for both houses. So that extra people and extra heat of having the apartment heated and stuff too is would create a lot more work for me on my old boiler system. This system here seems to be far easier on the wood demand.
Right.
So, and the other thing is, one of my garages is just a toy box for like nice cars.
Muscle cars.
Yes. This just a toy box for muscle cars, and I keep that at a constant 60-degree Fahrenheit temperature.
Right. So when you compare the Brand H firebox to the Portage Humane, and this is a BL 3444 that you have.
Yes.
You know, talking about the fire brick and the air coming up through the shaker grates, how do you find when you open the door? Are you finding a better, like, is it truly the firebox with the fire brick? Is that really a big component of the key performance of the boiler?
Okay. I would, in my experience now, and I've got a little bit of experience with boilers. I ran steamships for 17 years in my naval career. And we had all steam boilers, and they were built like this, except for it had some tubes, but the basic boiler itself, where the fire was, fire brick and fire. So, and this, if you look in it, it doesn't look, everything looks like it's charcoal in there. You don't see it, the big fire like you would see in my old boilers that I had before. You would see, if you opened the door, it's I always had a hard job to keep my eyelashes, because it used to blow back so bad most of the time that it'd burn the eyelashes off you.
Right.
So.
Okay, so there are times when we talked earlier before we started the video, compared to the Brand H product and this one, you would open the door and see literally blue flames rising off of the wood pieces.
Oh, yes. with my other boiler, you always had the yellow flame, looked like yellow flame with black tips. This here boiler, unless you just put wood in it and it just happens to be burning at the time that you put the wood in, because it will stay burning if the door is open. But this boiler here, you'll see when it's on, you'll see that the flame actually turns blue in it. And it's, from what I've remember about that stuff from my boiler days, the blue flame is about the hottest flame you can get. It's kind of like, it looks like your cutting torch on your welding machine.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah. So when you talk about the blue flame, you know that there's going to be heat transfer up in your heat exchanger on the top. And
Yeah.
you talked about that earlier. You're not finding as much creosote. It's
None.
just a little bit of ash, correct,
Yeah,
in the
just,
top.
on my old H boiler, the door, this door here, it would never open. You had to go get a pry bar and pry it open because it would be creosoted, welded shut.
Yeah.
This one here, that was cleaned out maybe once since I got it, I got the whole boiler.
Wow.
And there's nothing in it.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit of dust in there, and that's all.
Now, for the viewers here, are you burning any special wood?
No.
It's just normal dried wood.
That wood has been there. It's 2 years old. The only reason it's 2 years old is because my other boiler started leaking, and I discontinued it.
Right.
So I had no boiler last year. I didn't get this boiler in until the season was pretty near over.